mahzorim.
240.
Okay, now, you see, it's important to keep it, make sure that you're still in mahzorim, because that was the confusion here. Now I want 3 mahzorim.
11905.
What?
11705.
Yeah, that's right. And then 3 years.
715. 181.
7.
15. 181.
How many months do I want?
8.
To get
Eight.
Sivan, you need from Tishrei, you need 8.
Yeah, 8 months.
Heshvan
Heshvan is
Heshvan.
1.
Tishrei,
Heshvan,
Heshvan.
Kislev.
Don't count Tishrei.
No, not Tishrei. Tishrei 0.
No.
Tishrei 0.
How many months before Sivan?
Ah, okay.
Okay, fine.
Okay, so let's count. Tishrei.
Kislev.
I want to know how many months before Sivan. I'm not counting Sivan.
Oh,
Because I want Sivan Aleph. I want the Molad of
We
Sivan.
skip
Tishrei.
Kislev.
No, Heshvan.
Tevet.
No, Kislev.
Tishrei. Heshvan.
Kislev.
Kislev. Tevet. Shevat. Adar. Nisan. Iyar. Good. So I want 8 months. What's that for 8 months?
55944.
55944. Good. All right. You want to add it for me?
Yeah.
2262.
What?
2274.
Say it again.
22.
The halakhi.
Oh, you so they're 2274. 62 hours. 22 days.
Okay. Now simplify for me.
114.
So I just want to explain. So I'm going to take the multiples of 180 out of here.
1080.
1080. So
Take away 2160.
So I'm taking out 2160, and I'm transferring that to 2 days. What's left?
We said 114.
114. Okay. I'm going to take those 2 days, I'm adding them here.
2
They
hours.
became 62, what? 2
2
hours,
hours.
I'm sorry. They became 64. I removed 2 days, that's 48, and what's left?
16.
16.
Add 2 days.
Add 2 days, that becomes what?
25.
What?
Oh,
The 3.
20. I'm sorry, 24. And take away 21 is
3.
3.
Take away 21, multiple 7, so it's 3. So my molad for that is 3,
16.
16, 114. Okay, I only gonna do Bugay Duba now, okay? And I wanna move on, because I don't wanna keep, I told myself, my limit of review time and homework review is 9:15, and then I wanna start. Last week, we went very late because review went a long time. Okay, so 3, 16, 14. Let's check that with Boged Uba. Hotag's an easy one to check. Boged Uba is a little bit more involved, but Boged Uba, as I told you, is a little more. By the way, let's do something else before we get to Boged Uba. I want another way to check it. There's a simpler way to check. Give me the ahod for everything I just gave you. You just gave me the penny.
All right.
I'm going to start with my molad, and if I add up all the ahods, where should I wind up at? I will wind at Bahrad again. You understand why? If I start at my molad, and I add all the ahods, I'll get to Bahrad. Let's see. Go, give me the ahods.
The whole of 200 is Aleph, 1, 1, 8, 20.
What?
820.
Good.
The 40 is 4, 9, 1,040.
That's the mola. That's the answer.
The 3 is
522.
522, 375.
And for 3
Wait, no,
years.
40. 1 second.
No,
He
wait,
said
the 200 is 880. That's a fade. That's
it's a
880.
pair of half.
No, I think it's a spade.
It's Sorry, not 820, okay, good. Where are we? We were up to
3 years.
3 years is 899.
Okay?
Okay, we have the
And
months now.
8 months.
8 months is 118, 136.
If we add the whole of Baraz, we'll get to 0.
What?
If we add the whole
You
of
get to the
Baraz, we'll
perfect
get to
exact
0.
620.
What do you mean?
No, you get 614.
If you add,
Right,
Get
bottom
to
to the end,
614.
you'll get, yeah, you'll get the you'll get.
I don't want to add any.
Zero, zero, zero.
Okay. Guys, add this up for me, please. Stop being a wise guy, Albert.
43.
Let's go.
And then remainder 3.
Numbers?
Let's do some, your calculators are running.
And then the months, 20. 80
Bye-bye.
months.
What, 6, 8, what is it?
I can't read.
It's so much easier to do Bulgaria to
That's why you do
Huh?
it neatly.
Yeah, I know. We'll get the batu.
You won't use this. I can't read.
Alright, let's start. 3444 is the halakim.
9?
How much is it?
Yeah, that's
30.
what I'm saying.
3444.
He's getting 3212.
32. How?
You can't get 3212, that's definitely.
3444 is the halakim.
That's when I was paid.
This is the Shani Kishut.
32.
3444 is the halakim is what I got.
Yeah.
1564.
What'd you get?
7,
Guys, you're giving me a headache, come on.
23,
No, he's right. No, he's right.
No.
Yaakov is right. Because believe me, I subtracted 80 times 3, and I got 204 at the end.
Okay, so that's what I'm looking for.
I know. What's the number you just got? 30?
3444.
34.
34, 44, good. Add the hours up.
Excuse me, it's 33.
26, 26, 48, 48, and 8 is 56, 66, 70, 74.
44 gonna help us.
3444 is the correct number.
He got 74 over there. 74 hours. 74
74
hours.
hours.
Guys, I hope you're doing the math. I should, okay. And you're carrying the 3,
I didn't
right?
carry it. No, I didn't add yet. You got 34,
No, the
44.
3,
Harav, but you didn't subtract it yet. You still have 34.
no, I'm not talking subtracting. I need the
Sorry,
days.
it's
I need the hours from them all that.
3344.
What?
This is
34, 44.
Okay, guys. You have calculators.
Rabbi, it's 34.
Depends on pen, it's 34.
Okay. You're right. Okay. You're right. I'm sorry, Dave. You're right. Just add them up. Without, we won't
I did
subtract.
it. 26, 40,
17,
50,
That's 74,
26.
56, 74 there.
Okay, good.
And that's 20.
And this is 20?
5.
All right.
Yeah, 3.
Okay. Now, let's go.
It's 3.
180 times 3?
3240, which is gonna give you.
3240. So subtract 3240. Does everyone understand why I just did that?
Yeah.
What am I getting?
204.
204. I gotta add 3, right?
That's 77.
77. Subtract what?
72.
72.
You're left with 5.
And what is that, right? So I'm left with 5.
Add 3.
Add 3.
23. Take away
23.
21.
Remove 21. What do I got?
2.
2.
Five.
5. 204. That's Bahat.
Happy day.
Blackjack.
He's next.
Okay? Now, let's do another check to this with Bogedu Ba. And then we're going on to Rosh Hashanah. Okay. Bogedu Ba. Let's go.
That's the
Okay. 2 for every mahzor. How many mahzorim were there?
240.
243 times 2?
486.
486. How many shanim shutot?
12.
2. So that gives me 12. Shanim ubarot?
1.
1. That gives me 3. Months?
8.
8. That gives me 32. Good. Okay. Add what?
Then add 2.
Add another 2. Add them all up.
535.
Yeah, 535.
Okay. Divide by 7.
76, remainder 3.
76. remainder 3. I don't care about the 76, I care about the remainder. Good. Uba. 6 times 3 is 18. 2 times 16?
32.
32. 1 times 1, 14. 114. Add them up.
164.
164. Divide by 7.
23, remainder 3.
23, remainder 3. You know that your molad is correct. The remainders are the same. Okay? Now, I'm going to move on. Alright? You now have an all-important skill that you've demonstrated. Is that you now, as I said, know how to calculate moladot. This is step 1 in Haibbur. We can't move without doing this. You can't figure any calendar at all without knowing that.
Do we confirm the last two that we were supposed to do for homework, just to ask, to see if we have a confirmation on the...
Okay, anyone want it? Just throw them out.
The Mulad of Tevet 5773 is 37169.
No, I got 522,
522.
I got that one.
522, 173.
Okay.
Confirmed with hotel again.
And then the last one, 515, 500.
No.
No,
610,
813.
610, 813.
610,
I remember it was a 6.
No, it works with the super.
Okay? Yeah, that's why the checks are so important, because your molad can obviously get off a little bit. As you saw, you just put the wrong number in on the chart, and you're finished, and then you're going to make a wrong calendar, and you're going to mahti et rabim isurei kareh. Alright? That's what you're going to wind up doing. So, you're going to make Kippur the wrong day, you're going to make people eat on Kippur. Now, you're going to say, oh come on, who's listening? You guys are sitting there and making the calendar for an entire city. Okay? That's what you have to think of yourselves as doing. This is very important. This is not something that we're just doing this is not just an intellectual exercise. You're about to make a calendar for a city that has no other calendar. So if you're a little off, they're going to eat on Kippur. Right? They're going to eat on Kippur. This is on your head. So, we got to be careful. Good? Alright. Let me go through a few points. I'm going a little bit out of the order of Shirei David right now, but I'm going to do it because I think there's certain things I need to explain. There are 2 types of years, as we saw. There's a Shana Me'uberet and a Shana Peshuta. Peshuta and Me'uberet. Okay. Shana Peshuta has 12 months. Okay? Shana Me'uberet 13 months. I told you that there is a difference between what we do today and what we did in the times of the Beit HaMikdash. There are a few differences. One difference, obviously, is one by the Iyah and one is by calculation. Second difference is when we start. We start, or we attempt to start our cycle at the Molad. They didn't start at Molad. Our Molad is conjunction. We're going to call that no moon. They didn't obviously start that because they were looking for something. So they saw a certain sliver, what we'll call new moon. So that's different. We start our months at different calculations than they did. And the last thing, which is what I want to talk about now, is we care really about one molad a year for the calendar. We care about every molad, maybe for the calendar now, but we really care, for our purposes, we're really going to focus on what's really serious is one molad a year. And that's the molad of Tishrei. Okay? After the molad of Tishrei, and I should have made this chart for you, but after the molad of Tishrei, then, at which point, we then turn around and say that we're not going to pay attention to molad anymore in making Rosh Chodesh. In other words, Rosh Chodesh Sivan is not going to be determined by the Molad of Sivan. We're going to take the Molad of Tishrei, determine Rosh Hashanah based on the Molad of Tishrei, and then fluctuate between months of 30, 29, 30, 29 straight. Okay? Now, it's not exactly that. I'll just show, there's a easiest chart is in this book. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah. So we do this. Tishrei has 30 days, right? All right? I'm going to leave my Heshvan alone. And I'm going to leave Kislev alone. Okay? After that, Tevet has 29 days. Okay? Shevat, 30. Adar, 29. I'm talking now on a non-Shana Me'uberet. On a Shana Me'uberet, Adar 1 has 30, and Adar 2 has 29. Okay? You with me? Then we go to Nisan, has 30. Iyar, 29. Sivan, 30. And Tammuz, 29. Tammuz 29. Av, 30. And Elul, 29. Okay? Now, if these 2 months that I left out fluctuate, they're the only 2 in the calendar that ever fluctuate. Right? And by the way, it's almost, if you want to know, by the way, if it has 1 or 2 days Rosh Chodesh, you look at the amount of days in the month before. So does Adar have 1 or 2 days Rosh Chodesh?
1 day.
Adar.
2 days.
2 days. You go to Shevat. If Shevat has 30 days, then Adar is going to have 2 days of Rosh Chodesh.
The last day of Shabbat and the first day of Adar.
Right, you always look at the month before if you want to know it has 1 or 2 days Rosh Chodesh. So,
Can you explain this again?
yeah, if I want to know if Adar, on a regular year, has 1 or 2 days of Rosh Chodesh,
Okay.
so I go back to Shevat. If the month before it had 30 days, then Adar has 2 days. If the month before it has 29 days, well, Shevat's going to have 1 day Rosh Chodesh. You understand? Okay.
So basically the odds have 30, the evens have 29.
Hmm?
The odds have 30, the evens have 29.
Well, not always, because my Heshvan and Kislev are going to fluctuate. There are times, the normal way to run a calendar, which is called Shana Kesidra, is 29. I want to do a different color. This is good. Okay. This is what could happen. This is what could happen. I have 3 potential types of years of Shana Pshuta. 1, if everything is normal, the year will have 354 days. 30, 29, 30, 29 will flow. Right? And it's easy to figure out why. 6 times 30 is 180. 6 times 29, 174. 8 and 2 is 354. Right? You have 6. If, however, I have what's called a Shana Hasera, for some reason, and we're going to see why, I have decided to make my Heshvan and Kislev both 29-day months.
You lose a day.
So I lose a day, and that year we'll have 353. If I decide for some reason to add, that'll be 355. And that's called a Shana Male'ah. So a Pishuta can have a Mele'ah, a Kisidra, and a Hasera. Good? That's
354.
354.
2930. Oh,
זה חסרה, זה כסדרה, וזה מלאה. All in a פשוטה. Okay? The same thing. I'll slow down. Tell me if I can move on.
You'll never have Tishrei 30, Mar Hashvan 30, and Kislev 29?
You will.
Tishrei is gonna be, no, how could
Oh.
Tishrei be 30?
Flipped, you know.
No, you
that's
don't.
not considered.
No,
What would you do?
no. You would do.
Why?
It's a good question. You wouldn't. This is how you would do it. You wouldn't do it the way you wanted to say. It would be 30, 29, 30. You wouldn't do 30, 30, 29.
Because otherwise, what's the point of doing that?
Yeah. Here, I'll show you. I wanted to make I should have made the chart for you guys. Should have copied it. All right. Now. All right. The same thing can happen with a shana. This is a shana pshuta. I'm going to change it to a shana me'uberet. All the changes in a shana me'uberet is the following. Nothing here changes. Adar Aleph has 30, and Adar Bet has 29. So what I just do, I just added a 30-day month, and I called it Adar Aleph. That's all that happened. So therefore, a me'uberet
384.
is normally 384, and sometimes 383, sometimes 385. You with me? We good? Okay.
So the Adar before Nisan always has 29.
Yes.
You need 30 days
Exactly.
from
And we
20.
insert an Adar Aleph, which just is an extra 30 days. Yeah. This is the way we only have the option of 6 possible years. The Mishnah in Arachin records that you can do this more. Basically, we can only have either 7 months and 5, 6 and 6, or 5 and 7. 7 at 30, at 5 at 29, 6 at 30, 6 at 29, and 5 at 30, 29 and 7 at 29 for Pshuta. The Mishnah in Arachin allows you a greater flexibility, up to even 8 me'ubarot and 4, and in a Shana me'uberet up to 9 Chodeshim Mele'im. But this is the way our calendar works. We don't take all of the licenses that the Mishnah in Arachin give us. The Gemara develops it. But basically, it's either 7, 5, 6, 6, 5, 7. Or, for a Shana Me'uberet, it's
5.
8, 5,
5, 8.
7, 6, or
5,
6, 7. Yeah? That's how it's going to work. Now, all right, are we good?
Because you added 30 days a month.
You just added a 30 month to that. Okay? So let's now recall for a minute.
30 days.
How many?
To sum up, a Shana Peshuta has 3 options. Either Hasera,
353.
which is, let's do it in months, 5 at 5 Meleim and 7 Haserim, which gives me 353 days. A Kisidra,
6 and 6.
which is 6 and 6, which gives me 354. Or a Mele'ah,
75.
which gives me 7 and 5, which gives me 355. A Me'uberet has the same 3 options. Hasera
6 and 7.
at 6 and 7.
No, Bennett is gonna
Yeah.
be,
Yeah, 6 and 7. Because the
At
5
how many
six
days?
is the Mele'ah.
383.
you told us 8 and 5.
No, that's
No,
this is a
that's
Hasera.
Mele'ah.
That's a Mele'ah. You think you're Mele'ah.
Oh, okay.
Kisidra is going to be what? 7 and 6 at 384. And a Mele'ah
8 and 5.
is going to be 8 and 5 at 385. Okay? Now, before I move on, I want to now think of something. How many days on the week will there be between, if the Shana's Hasera, how many days in the week will there be between one Rosh Hashanah and the next? Just days of the week. You see what I'm asking?
1.7.
Yeah, how many
Many
days,
weeks.
difference
4 days?
between one and
Maybe
Rosh
days
Hashanah
in a
Yes.
of the week?
In other words, if this Rosh Hashanah fell out on Monday, when will and it was a Shana Hasira, when will the next one? Thursday. Take out right. So,
Wait, so you did.
you don't need a calendar for that. You don't need a calculator. This is simple. Just do 3, you count, remove the 7s,
Just do 3.
and it's
just do
3.
3 divided by 3.
So I'm going to leave here 3. This is going to be 3 days between Rosh Hashanah. Obviously this will be 4,
So not including the first day. So.
and this will be 5. Okay? Good? You got that? In a Mu'beret, how is that going to happen? How many days between one Rosh Hashanah and the next?
5, 6, and 7. 7
Huh?
is not that.
Adding
5,
6,
6,
and then
and 7 a whole week. I'll get back to that. Okay. That's true. For our purposes, when we figure this out, we want to know the mnemonic that we use is not exactly this. We use the one, we try and figure out how many days would be in between the 2 Rosh Hashanahs, not including either day. So, how much would that be?
2,
2,
4,
3,
4,
4,
4.
and 4, 5, 6. I think the reason why they did this is to avoid your problem. Okay? Now, in a pshuta, so we have potentially now, you see, 6 years. 6 possible types of years in the Jewish calendar. It's going to very quickly turn to 14, but not today. But right now we got 6. And depending on the year, there will be different days in between the 2 Rosh Hashanahs. There's a reason why I'm doing this. It's important to know this. Some of it will become apparent today, some in the next session or 2. So in order to remember this, we have a little mnemonic, and that's called Beged Hacham and Dahu Hacham. Can anyone tell me what that is?
Yeah, it's a shift out of 2, 3, 4, and 4, 5.
And what's Hacham?
You're the
Yeah.
Hacham.
Hasera Kisidra Mele'ah. 2 Hasera, 3 Kisidra, 4 Mele'ah. 4 Hasera, 5 Kisidra, 6 Mele'ah. So, if I want to know how much one Rosh Hashanah is on the week after the previous Rosh Hashanah, I need to know, is it a pshuta or a me'uberet? And then I need to know, okay,
Rabbi,
Uh,
can you just spend on the Milbedet side how it gets 5, 6, 7?
yeah. it's-
I had to say 3, 4, 5 because then
No,
that's
simple.
it.
And every Milbedet has 30 days more than a Pshuta.
You just minus all for the.
So therefore I'm adding 353 to 383.
Right.
What's divisible, right, now I take the divisible instead
Take
of,
away the 28, you've got two
Get rid of the
extra
28
days.
and then
Okay.
apply the
Two extra-
way.
then
Right,
add
get rid of
2
the
days
28
in
from the extra month and then apply with.
You had two
or
extra days
do it,
between-
yeah, I know that's the shortcut way.
Oh, what's the real?
You know
What's
how-
the real one?
This is 350,
Right.
Days.
350 is divisible by 7, it leaves you 3. This leaves you 4, leaves you 5. What's divisible by 7 here?
378.
378 is divisible by 7, it leaves you 5,
Oh, okay.
and that's it.
It's divide by 7, whatever the.
Divided by 7, Hashevi'it tishmetenna und tashta. Kish 7s. We don't like 7s anymore. We throw out all 7s. Okay? For obvious reason, we're only focused on what's in a week. Now, so we have this thing called,
Why do you need to know this?
you'll see. Never ask why. Nobody asks why. You just do. Everything will be clear. This may not be so clear. This I need a little patience. You just need to know this. I went out of order of the way she did Debbie did it. He does this later. There's a reason I decided to go and do this now. I want you to know it. Some of it is need for now, and some of it for later. Okay.
But I'm sorry, Rabbi, I don't understand why the 30, 29, 30, 29, 30,
That's what we do. The reason we do it is because Katyab Tashsag,
12 hours.
29 and a half.
12-hour days.
Instead of we can't make,
12 hours.
the Gemara goes into the whole reason you can't make half a month have half a day. So in order to arrange it, you do 29, 30, 29, 30, so that you do, it's like 12 times 29 and a half. 6 times 29, 6 times 30 is close to 6 times 29 and a half. Obviously, it's not exactly 29 and a half because what about the 793 halakim every year? So that's why we're gonna play with it.
Hasira.
Yeah. But that's not the only reason why we do hasira, but that's how it comes in. Okay. Because otherwise, why would you need a minute?
interesting.
Okay.
So why Dafka, sorry,
He's trying to
why
figure it out.
Dafka Mahashban and Kislevi?
We'll get to that. Okay, we're going to get to the whys. That's a little bit tricky. Why Dafka we chose those months? It's not clear. It's not clear why Hillel chose those 2 months to play with as opposed to any other month.
Because Hashvan doesn't have a...
Hashvan doesn't have a holiday. It's true. Neither does I don't
It
know.
says how they.
Neither does the yard. Right.
Yeah, but then how you sandwich between two,
Right. You see
2 months of...
right. Tammuz and
End the year as early as possible.
right. So I think that's also. I think they wanted to take it after Tishri, and they did it right away.
Just one more thing. The Mahashban in Kislevi said 29, 30, 29. So it could be 29. Mahashban 29 and Kislev 30.
It could be.
Yes.
It could be
Yeah.
Mahashvan 29.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kislev 30. Mahashvan 29. Kislev 29.
Both are 30.
Both 30. Mahashvan. It could be either one of those three. Now, all right. Now, let's go back. I want to know how you know how to make a modat. How do we use that to decide when Rosh Hashanah is going to be? Okay. Well, the first thing we would assume is, well, what's we did? Find the Molad of Tishrei, and that's going to be the day of Rosh Hashanah. And you would be right. You would be right. And we do that if we can. Except sometimes we don't. And there are 4 cases why we don't. And they are called, and this is a yesod of Haibbur, the 4 dehayot. There are 4 reasons why we will push off Rosh Hashanah. And they are called, I'm going to list them, and I'm going to list them now for you, and they're not going to be clear, and I'm going to explain them one by one, and hopefully if I have time, explain why they are so. one by one. Okay? The 4 dehayot are called. This is a famous one, you probably heard it. Lo adu rosh.
Peace.
Molad zaken.
Number 2.
Yeah. Third one is gatrad. And the fourth is the fourth one, gatrad, and batu takbat. Batu takbat, and this one is ahad me'uberet. And we're going to explain all these things. And this is bipshuta. Okay. All right, now. It's okay. Everything's to become clear. These are the 4 different.
What is the third?
Gatrad bipshuta. Okay. They can all become clear. All right. So first thing I want to do, if I want to know when Rosh Hashanah is going to do, I first have to find my molad of Tishrei. Got the molad of Tishrei, I'm good. I got that molad. Now,
If it falls out on that, do no good.
so if it falls out, the first one,
The first day, you mean?
if it falls out on Adu,
We only look at the first day of when it flows out, right? Because it's
What do you mean first day?
2 days of Shana, so we only look at the
molad, Rahi, molad, not Rosh Hashanah, molad. I mean, I don't know when Rosh Hashanah is. I'm deciding when Rosh Hashanah is going to be. Okay? I find the molad. If the molad is Sunday, Wednesday, or Friday, that day can't be Rosh Hashanah. And we push it one day. We make it one day later. Why? Okay? So I'm going to give you the reason of the Gemara.
Because of Kippur.
So, these two, the 4th and the 6th of Rosh Hashanah, will cause Kippur to either be when?
Friday or Sunday.
Friday or Sunday. The Gemara says, why is that not good? The Gemara in Rosh Hashanah Daf Kaf Amud Aleph, Mishum Yarka Mishum Metaya. 2 reasons. 1, we never want Kippur and Shabbat to fall back to back. Why? Because the bodies will rot. Because the only 2 days of the year that you can't handle dead bodies is on Shabbat and Kippur. So we don't want that to happen. Another reason is Mishum Yarka.
What's
What was
that?
that called?
Yarka, that's Metaya. Yarka is because, and it's a little difficult, these are the only 2 days of the year where food can't be prepared. And so things will rot. The food will therefore. That is Dalit Vav. Aleph is what? Is because if we do that, we're not going to, Hoshana Rabbah will fall on Shabbat, and we will lose the minhag of Aravot. We won't be able to go around, and we don't want that to happen. Now, you'll ask me a simple question.
Why
Who cares? Why? I should say, Lo Zadurosh. I'm losing the shofar. I'm worried about Havatata Arava, and I'm not worried about shofar.
Lab, you're losing also.
Lulav, all of these things,
They
right?
have a second day.
Okay, so there's a lot of reasons why. And there's a lot of discussions. Harambam says, this reason of the Gemara is not the real reason. Harambam says, it's a nice reason of the Gemara, but it's not true.
What is it in the Gemara?
It's Gemara Rosh Hashanah Daf Kaf Amud Aleph. So that's not the real reason. It says the real reason is that we, remember when I started the first thing, I gave you Katiyab Tashsag, and what I say? I said that is the average mean conjunction. In other words, to figure out the actual moon cycle every month, Harambam takes you, and trust me, it's the most painstaking 9 chapters in Harambam, through bizarre, ancient calculations in Ptolemaic astronomy with equations this size. Okay? And it's very, very difficult. And that's how you figure out every month the actual molad. Now, we don't use the actual molad today. In the times of the Beit HaMikdash, they use the actual molad. In fact, the calculation of the actual molad, and I don't want to get you guys depressed, is what Harambam said is really what's called Sot Haibbur. What we're doing, to Harambam, is not Sot Haibbur. What we're doing, to Harambam, is what any child can figure out in 3 or 4 days. That's Harambam. But Harambam says that the no. But others say we are doing Sot Haibbur and we are Mekayim the Mitzvahs, and I told you every day we should say L'Shem Yehud. We are not only learning Torah, we are, according to many poskim, maybe not Rambam, Mekayim the Mitzvah Aseh. Mitzvah Aseh of Hishuv Kufot Mazal. So he says, this push-off is really there to accommodate for the difference between the actual molad and the mean molad. We're all using mean molad. He says, and I'll prove it to you. And he brings all rayot and those bring that in the times of the Beit HaMikdash, they didn't hold of this rule at all. What happened to Yarka? What happened to Metaya? What happened to Aravot? What happened? When they did it al pi ha're'iyah, they didn't pay attention to this. They didn't care. Adu Rosh. And he shows Gemarot of cases when it happened. So, therefore, when they weren't doing it based on a mean calendar, they didn't use it. So the Gemarot reasons are additional reasons, but not the Ikar reason according to Rambam. Alright? Now, so Lo Adu Rosh.
So is that really going to correct it and just moving it one day?
That's a good question. It's a very good
In
question.
certain cases?
They're Makshim on Rambam.
What was the
It's true.
question?
Will this really work? So Harambam says yes, but it's a good question. But that's what he says.
What's the real reason now? To compensate? Not understanding.
Remember I told you when we
What
started.
are all the other reasons? Where they all go?
I'm gonna do one by one now. Remember I told you that in the beginning we had the mean cycle was Kat, Yab, Tash, Sag. Remember? And that's how we got Ib, Tash, Sag. And I said this is the lunar cycle. That, and I told you that it doesn't always happen that way. This is an average cycle. At the end of the year, it will average out like this. But it doesn't always happen that way. And being especially that we really only care about one molad a year, no big deal. But Harambam says the reason why we push off the molad a little bit every now and then is because all the moladot that we used, all the calculations were based on this Kat Yab Tash Sag. Why? Because the Yitaron was Ib Tash Sag, right? A monthly Yitaron. And your whole chart that you got there is based on Ib Tash Sag. That whole chart, everything in there is based on Ib Tash Sag.
So the Lo Adu
And therefore, it's all based on a mean calculation. And that's, remember, the first homework I gave you was to do a year Yitronot based on Ib Tash Sag, and you did it, and then I gave you your chart, and it was the same, hopefully, right? So that is all based on this. So every molad you've ever figured out was based on Kat Yab Tash Sag. That Kat Yab Tash Sag is a mean lunar month, not an actual lunar month. And that's why Harambam says we use this Lo Adu Rosh to fix it.
Okay, correction fudge fact.
Good.
Or people who are not Rambam.
They're based on the Gemara. Okay, now.
So you add one day and what?
So if the molad, go back.
Wait, you gotta
Somewhere
go back
in
to
your
the
notes,
before.
somewhere in your notes,
You
you have the molad of Tishrei 5773. This year's molad. Somewhere you have it. Somebody give it to me.
Sometimes,
Tishrei 5773. It's there somewhere. I know.
1/7/1034.
Yeah.
1/7/1034. So you already know how to translate into this time. What time is that?
1 is Sunday.
Sunday night, 1 a.m.
Well, it's
1:55
Sunday,
a.m.
1:55 a.m. was the Molad. Remember, it's Jerusalem. It's in Jerusalem. Okay, when should Rosh Hashanah be?
Tuesday.
Saturday night.
I mean Monday.
Sunday
It should
night.
be Saturday.
Well, it should. I might have thought it would have been Sunday. Rosh Hashanah this year should have been Sunday, but it wasn't. Lo Adu Rosh means I push it off to the next available day.
It's Monday.
Sunday
Sunday
night.
night.
Sunday. Now, good.
That means the year before was Malay.
We'll see. Don't go even there. We're not going there. I'm just
That's
gonna let
okay.
you push it. I don't want to do that yet. Don't confuse anybody yet.
Oh, it's not a little bit.
We will see. It's nothing's automatic. The next one, and this one was the controversial one. This one caused great rabbis to fight vehemently. Molad Zaken. Any molad on any day after Yud Het will be pushed off Rosh Hashanah till the next day. Any molad after noon, Yud Het is noon, will push the molad, will push Rosh Hashanah till the next day.
Talking about hours.
It's like moving 6 p.m. to.
Any molad that happens any day after Yud Het Sha'ot will move Rosh Hashanah next day. So, if Rosh Hashanah, if the molad
Isn't the afternoon?
is on Shabbat after Yud Het Sha'ot, when will Rosh Hashanah be?
Monday.
Monday, because it can't be
That's
Sunday.
two
Right,
days.
it will
One
push
second.
it off 2 days possibly.
Not
Wow.
available, Sunday's not available.
Okay, this one, based on this point, was an esoteric fight between Rav Saadia Gaon and Ben Meir on this little thing. Why? Because Ben Meir said it's not really Yud Het Sha'ot, and I had the figure in my mind, but I lost it. It's Yud Het Sha'ot and 400 and something halakim. About 20, 25 minutes.
Above it or below?
Below, above it, meaning Yud Het Sha'ot.
Next.
So in other words,
Okay.
if it's
I
Yud
think
Het
that's
Sha'ot and 2 halakim, according to Sasag, push it away. According to Ben Meir, keep it that day. And it just so happened to be that there was a year like that. It doesn't have to be Shabbat, it could be any day.
With the remainder,
I just gave Shabbat.
with the remainder of the Yud Het was less than.
Less than that, and they made, and Eretz Israel and Bavel had different Rosh Hashanah days that year. And they had different Kippurs, and they had different Pesachs, and they went at each other.
What did it fix?
The Sag one.
What was it? What did it? How did it fix?
I think within the next year. I'm not sure exactly. There's whole books on this whole controversy,
We're fighting about it.
and we do today.
Made him come with his
How did
stick
they
and his
end it?
thing on
That's
This
much
is
better.
This is much worse, the community can't.
Like I said, you have to understand one thing.
This day's Kippur is
What's interesting today, the calendar is unanimous. This was probably from the time of Mishnah, Tanaim, Amoraim, and close even to Geonim. This was probably the most contentious issue. If you ran the calendar, you had tremendous authority. And Eretz Israel were vigilant about that. In the times of Geonim, it shifted to Bavel, and Ben Meir saw this as a chance to reclaim it. Why it is halakim? I'm not even going to get into that. There's all sorts of suppositions. It's uneven clear why they had those arguments of halakim.
How do you lose?
Was it just a political fight? Was there something else? There's plenty of works and books to try and figure out what they were really arguing about. We're not going to talk about that. I just added in an interesting piece of history.
But bottom line, that was the turning point that kept